Put your sneakers on. Put your sneakers on.
Hello, Blue Bloods, and welcome to the Ready or Not recap. Everything you need to know before part 2 comes out, and maybe a few extra bits as well. But before we get into it, I just want to say thank you so much for anyone that watched my Wuthering Heights video. That thing took me so long and drove me a little crazy, but it means a lot that people are watching it and enjoying it. But also I'm a little stressed. It did a lot better than I thought it was going to, and I regret not getting my eyebrows done beforehand. So if my eyebrows look bad in it, I know they look bad. I had to stare at myself so long, but it means a lot. I had so much fun making it, so thank you so much to anyone that watched it. Let's get into this one. This is gonna be a little bit more fun. If you couldn't tell,
Who wants to play a game?
I like this movie a lot. But yes, if you're wondering, I did pluck my eyebrows before this video, because I will never make that fucking mistake again. I've learned my lesson. So ready or not, if you didn't know, there is a sequel coming out. Did this movie need a sequel? No, it definitely can stand on its own. But am I excited? A little bit. I was nervous when they first announced it, but looking more into the first movie and watching interviews about what their plan for this movie is, I'm actually excited, and I do think that it's going to build upon the lore in an interesting way and not just be a cash grab, especially since it took them so long to make this one. I feel like they really thought about it and they're not just trying to make a second one. So Ready or Not is a horror comedy that came out in 2019. I think it's very self-aware and smart. It does a good job of mixing its comedic elements with a lot of its horror elements, and it knows what it is and it does it very well. It's very to the point because it's only 95 minutes, so they really keep it quick and keep it engaging. It probably could have been longer to expand on some of this lore, but it's more fun to dive into it yourself and really think about the little things that they threw in for you, which we'll get to, don't worry. It received mostly positive reviews too upon its release, especially audiences really liked it, but critics seemed to enjoy it quite a bit too. It impressively only had a $6 million budget and grossed almost 60 million, so not too bad. This is another film that is meant to critique the upper class. We love that classic premise, and there's plenty of serious films that do that. This film is very aware that it is satirical. It is just trying to have a good time, and I think it does it pretty well. And what makes it so good is its acknowledgement of its preposterous premise. Like, it really just full sends it, which makes it so enjoyable. To sum up the whole movie with one line of dialogue: what the fuck is wrong with you, fucking asshole, piece of shit, little tiny dick licker, fucking asshole, fucking die! Fucking rich people. And that's what I've always said. In addition to all of that, it is, of course, a final girl movie. Grace is really that final girl for me. When I'm thinking of final girls, I am always thinking about Grace. She is always on the list. She's just the perfect example of the trope. She's a scream queen. She's a baddie. She is very pragmatic with her approach of surviving the night. She's a very sweet person at the beginning. But once these people start to go batshit crazy, she is not fucking around. She will beat her new mother-in-law with a box if it means she's gonna survive the night. And that is the makings of a true final girl. And she looks fabulous while doing it. That's the other main criteria, right? You've got to do all these cool things, but you've got to look fabulous while doing it. And she is always serving during these moments. And with every final girl, there must be a foe. In-laws. Uh-oh. Because as the saying goes, if you wanna be my lover, you gotta get with my crazy ass family and their murder gang. So let's do us part, you know what I mean? This movie may start with a wedding, but love flies out the window real quick when it comes time to, fight for your life. This movie also poses the question that many of us have probably thought about before. What are you willing to give up for wealth? And of course, to join this fierce family. Like, no, they're problematic, but look how much they serve. This was just them in the foyer, serving absolute cunt. Like crazy. I would be a little tempted, I'm not gonna lie. But this movie also is a reminder that you really need to meet the family before you decide to get married after a quote-unquote 18-month bonathon. very important. Talking about the movie overall, cinematography is incredible. The amount of blood is fabulous. Thank you so much. The score is amazing as well. There's a lot of classical influences, which I think are perfect for this setting and adds to the stress of the situations. The hide and seek song is also so addicting. It gets stuck in my head so easily. Run, run, run. Time to run and hide. Run, run. It's just so good. And the costuming, incredible. I love it so freaking much. Enough yapping. Let's get into the characters. And to help us with that, I made us a little family tree. How cute. Aw, family. Starting with, of course, our queen and woman of the hour, Grace. No last name because we didn't need to know it. She is so genuine and so naturally funny. She just seems like she'd be so cool to hang out with. She grew up in the foster care system, so marriage and family is very important to her. She's just always wanted a family of her own. Alex, on the other hand, he would have been happy just not getting married, but because Grace wanted it so bad and he didn't want to lose her, he decides to put her in danger to marry her so she'll stay with him, which is a common thread with Alex. We'll learn. His only motivation is to just keep Grace, which becomes a problem later on, but we'll get there, okay? She is a smoker. You think that's not important, but it will become important, okay? Very resourceful. She puts on smart shoes. She seeks out weapons. She fights till the bitter end. She is just an icon. I love that for this character specifically, they show her sweet and caring side, but then they also show her laughing while her husband explodes side. And I think it's wonderful. Women can do it all. She also accomplishes some very impressive feats, especially for who her father-in-law describes as a twig.
She's a little blonde twig. And
It's impressive. She's unassuming, but her adrenaline was pumping so hard that even a tranquilizer could not keep her down. She was gonna get through this night. Next, we have her husband, Alex Ledomas, the other newlywed. Yay! That doesn't warn his bride about the murder game that his family plays.
Huh?
Boo. He genuinely loves Grace. That's very clear, and you kind of want to like him, but he's just kind of a little bitch. He definitely resents his family at the beginning, and he only withholds the info of the murder game because he really doesn't think it will happen, and he selfishly doesn't want to lose Grace, which perfectly explains his later betrayal, which we'll get to, because he does love Grace, but he doesn't love her enough to relinquish his possession of her. And he clearly doesn't subscribe to the whole concept of you love something, let it go. He's like, I'm gonna hold on to her even if it gets her fucking murdered. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Awesome. We love that, buddy. Which is why in the end, when he's faced with the reality that Grace is probably gonna leave him after all of this, crazy, I know, he decides that death is better for her. We'll give him a little bit of grace in this moment because this is also right after he watches her brutally murder his mom. So, a lot of emotions. And his brother is dead. So, he's got a lot of emotions, but still, that's a crazy decision. He's just such a flip-flopper. He goes from trying to help Grace the whole time to trying to kill her to then finally begging her for forgiveness again. He's just very much a hypocrite and is, in fact, on my shit list. Moving on to the other brother, we have Daniel, played by Adam Brody, who is, of course, playing another devil worshiper. So obviously things went really well for him, right? Daniel is Alex's older brother and is shown to have looked after Alex when they were kids. In the intro, he even shields Alex from seeing Aunt Helena's husband be sacrificed. However, he does also rat out that guy in that scene, which really kind of fucks with him for the rest of his life because him ratting him out led to him getting sacrificed. He carries this shame and remorse for that moment into adulthood, leading to him being a disinterested alcoholic. Seems kind of comfortable with his privilege, he just doesn't want to do anything about it, but he is also very much aware about how much they all suck and does say that they all deserve to die. So he knows what's going on, but he's just like, what can I do? He too flip-flops like Alex, but is the only one that is actually there to protect Grace to the bitter end. He even sacrifices himself.
He's going to sacrifice
To
himself.
save her.
No, you can't.
So that really does prove that he really did have a good heart the whole time. He was just too scared to do anything about it. And on to his wife, Charity. Charity's a problem. I know this, but she's so cool and she is a baddie with a bob. So like, can't fully hate her. I know I should, but she serves so hard. She does kind of act as Grace's foil. So she also grew up poor and married into this wealthy family. But unlike Grace, she seems very chill with the whole selling your soul thing. Daniel warned her about the games. She could care less. She actually said dying was better than being poor. She got chess for her game, so a little bit easier than hide and seek, I would say. Her name is also very ironic because it's super clear she married Daniel for money, and she does actually kill him in the end to keep that money. So, love the name choice. Next, we'll move on to the parents. We have, first of all, Mother. Becky, played by Andie MacDowell. Absolutely incredible. She's so fab. She's very classic mother-in-law as well. Seems very nice, but low-key wants you dead. And as far as the family goes, she's kind of the only ones that's super competent in battle. Like, she is able to strategize and kind of holds her own against Grace a little bit better than some of the other people do. She's also just a very interesting character because she really loves her kids and she has a lot of maternal instincts and she really wants to accept Grace into the family. But as soon as that card is pulled, she flips. She is in this game and she's going to do whatever it takes to protect her family and becomes a little bit more unhinged as it goes on. The juxtaposition of her encouraging Grace and welcoming her into the family.
Stand tall and fuck 'em.
And then like trying to kill her down the road is hilarious. It just shows the different sides of people. Next, we have the patriarch of the family, Papa Tony, who loves a good story time. Tana Mongoose, count your days, coming for your crown, okay? He sits everyone down and tells Tale of La Belle. It's very good. He also does not love his children equally. He makes that very clear. He does show favoritisms, and I can respect that. Be straight up about it. Be forthcoming. And he always thinks that he's in control, but really never is, till the bitter end. He says, I am in control, but he's not. That's okay. We love delusion. Next, we have our final sibling, Emily. I think there's one quote that perfectly describes her presence, and it's by her lovely Aunt Helene. Brown-haired niece, you continue to exist. I think she's so fun, but like really only shows up to be comedic relief, which is ironic because all she does is kill people, but it's funny. She really likes skiing. Very much so. Seen skiing, popping pills, you know, the good stuff. So she's super duper high this entire game, which is great because they keep giving her guns and weapons. Let's not do that. She should never be allowed to handle a weapon. Has 2 children who are also menaces, but that's not surprising based on their mother. She does actually have one of the highest kill counts besides Grace. That's kind of impressive, but they were both accidental, so that's unfortunate. And instead of showing some remorse for, you know, killing 2 people, she whines to her daddy about how unlucky she is. Yeah, an interesting character. Basically just spoiled brat, daddy's girl. She's doing her best, and her best is not good. And her husband is Fitch Bradley. He got old maid for his game. He's the skeptic of the group. He really doesn't think any of this is real. At one point, he even Googles devil packs, real or BS, which is fucking funny. I love that. But despite all of this, he still goes along with the whole murder thing. You would think that if he thought it was fake, he'd be like, hey, maybe let's not murder this human being. He does not do that. He does at one point watch a YouTube video on how to use a crossbow though. And that's funny because that would be very much me in that situation. I believe I can do anything in this world as long as I have a YouTube video. Finally, we have Helene. She is Tony's sister. She is actually the woman from the intro that has her husband killed off. And this makes starts to go a little cuckoo beans. So she becomes a big stickler for the ritual. And it seems like it's kind of if I had to suffer through it, I'm going to make other people suffer through it. After her husband's death, just kind of full into the LaBelle cult. Does have a massive staring problem, but her face card is not declining, so I kind of give her a pass for it. Like, she's kind of serving while being creepy. She is concerningly comfortable wielding an axe, but I'm sure that's fine.
Have to hide better than that.
We have Stevens. Stevens is the butler and is probably the most competent fighter, hunter out of everyone. Just so cocky, and that is like his downfall. I do wish we got a little bit more reasoning as to why he is so loyal to this family. Why are you doing all of this? This is so much work for this family. Are you paid enough? Probably not. Speaking of not being paid enough, we have the maids, the clique, if you will.
The clique.
They served so hard and really deserved so much better. Clara, Dora, and Tina. I can't tell you which is which, but that's Clara, Dora, and Tina. What a shitty day at work for them, seriously. They were just trying to do their job, and then they all get murdered. Rip. On to the timeline. We're going to go through pretty briefly all the points. I tried to condense it the best that I could just to get you all the main things that you need to know. So how I broke it down, this blue section in the middle, this is going to be like main timeline. This is all stuff that happens on the night. This is stuff that is presumably happening the next day. And everything from this star back is all stuff we learn about the past. So, going back to the 1800s, Victor Ladomas was a merchant sailor who meets LaBelle and they play a little game. And after this game, he's given a little black box. He just needs to use this little black box to play games every once in a while. No big deal. And he'll have his wildest dreams of riches granted. The story does start with Tony saying that they made their money during the Civil War. And all I wrote down was, oh, great, white people starting a business during the Civil War. I'm sure that's chill. Okay, so yeah, he becomes rich from games, and the fam continues the tradition with the box. Now we move up in the timeline to 30 years before the start of the movie. This is Helene's wedding night. Yay! Her husband is killed and sacrificed, and was also ratted out by Daniel. So don't forget that. Important. Bale is happy. Finally, into our main timeline. Grace's wedding. So it starts with a 30-year time jump. It's wedding day. We get some cutie scenes between her and Alex. You're like, oh my God, wait, they're kind of cute. Kind of rooting for them. There's some cute bonding moments actually between Grace and her new mother-in-law. And you're like rooting for that relationship. Forget it, because that's all about to be out the window because it's now wedding night. And that's when we learn about the game. Yeah, the game is revealed. We get the big lore dump, and Grace pulls a card. And it is, in fact, hide and seek. And at first, Grace just thinks, okay, yeah, so fun. I'll even toast a LaBelle. That sounds like so much fun. Y'all are kooky, but it's okay.
Who wants to play a game?
She hides in a dumbwaiter, but then she gets bored, right? Like, it's boring. What are we playing? Hide and go seek. I'm going to go find some people. And she does. She finds Alex, and he's like stressed. She's like, why is he so stressed out? I don't understand what's happening. And then they watch one of the cunty maids get shot. She's the first to go. She gets shot in the fucking head by who we already know. Emily. She can't be trusted with a weapon. I warned you. She cannot be trusted. So then Alex actually has to be straight up with her and is like, hey, by the way, my family's crazy. Yeah, they're crazy and this is what's going on. So she gets the whole lore dump about the game. And she's like, why didn't you tell me before? He's like, I didn't want to lose you. Oh, excuse me, you didn't want to lose me. Fuck you. She specifically says, you said your family was fucked up, but you didn't say they were psychos. If I told you, you would have left. No duh, bitch. No duh. And you should have given her the opportunity. You suck. The game continues. There's a few moments. Alex spends some time trying to help her. He's like playing on how to get out. There's actually a funny moment where he like threw a door to go through and there ended up being 2 doors and she was like, ah, shit. And she picks the wrong door and they're like there. And I thought that was very funny because I'm really bad at listening to directions. So if someone was telling me something in this situation, I would pick the wrong door. 100%. But then Alex battles his family for cams, which feels very Among Us coded. And the butler is making tea while Grace is in the kitchen. And it's like a very suspenseful scene, actually, because you're like, he knows that she's there, right? Because he's being really weird. He's whistling and singing super loud. It's a very suspenseful scene. Love it so much. Alex takes a little nap while Grace is working super hard to get out. Like, fuck. Just kidding. He got hit in the head. And then the dumb waiter takes out another maid. I forget who. I think it was you. Unfortunately, the other cunty maid does also get shot around this time by Emily, of course. No more weapons for her. I'm serious. But I guess it doesn't matter because all the maids are already dead. So the clique is gone. Thank you so much for breaking up the clique. What the fuck? Okay, Grace finally makes it outside and touches grass. Thank goodness. She runs off to the barn trying to avoid everybody. And you know what? You think you finally have a moment. It's going to be chill. She runs into Georgie. Just a little kid, right? Yeah, Georgie. Just a little guy. He's not going to do anything, right? He shoots her in the fucking hand. She has the best reaction. She slaps the shit out of this kid. You know what? That's so valid. Then she does unfortunately fall into their goat body hole. It's just a hole of carcasses, and it's like it's really nasty. And there is also another human body, so that's concerning, but think about that later. It's fine. During this whole thing, I should point out, Daniel has been slightly helping her. He's not outwardly helping her like Alex is, but he's definitely like, doing little things. Like he gives her a head start at one point, and he also just is winning the I don't give a fuck war. You're not actively seeking her out, but he's just very neutral, chaotic character at this point in the story. And there is an exchange with him and his father where his father's freaking out like, Bale fucks you.
This is a fucking game!
Yes, hide and seek.
And Daniel's just like, we all deserve to die anyways. Why does it matter? I don't care. There's also a moment where Daniel's in the barn with his sister and she finds her son, lying on the floor because he got the shit slapped out of him. And he gets up and he's like, Mommy, I shot the lady. And instead of having a normal reaction like, oh my God, don't shoot people, she goes, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. Yay! And Daniel's just like, what the fuck? And while this is happening, Grace is still actively being pursued by the butler. Even after he got all that hot tea poured on his face, he is really dedicated. The only one that's like doing a lot. Everyone else just keeps losing her, but he is like actively like in pursuit. And they kind of go back and forth for a moment. Oh, there's also an amazing scene. I almost forgot about this, where Grace like the fence, she gets into the road and she's like, help, please, covered in blood in her wedding dress. And this happens.
Fuck out of the road! What the fuck is wrong with you?
That's so funny. So then, it's back and forth with the butler. She eventually fucks him up a little bit, steals his car. You're like, yes, things are looking up. And she calls Trip safe and she's like, these gays, they're trying to kill me. They don't help her at all. Specifically, Justin. Fuck you, Justin. And says, oh, I'm so sorry. This car's been reported stolen. I'm gonna turn it off. Cool. I guess he's just doing his job, but if someone was saying that they were gonna get murdered, I don't know. Crazy situation. But he does say at least he called the police. So that's something, I guess. Then there's another back and forth with her and the butler because she unfortunately did not double tap earlier. Ladies, we can't forget the double tap. Very important. So the butler's back and she gets drugged. Oh no, she gets tranked. It's looking bad, okay? Driving back, he's having a little victory conductor moment. He's having a great time. And he also has a little FaceTime up. And I love that you can see the whole family in this FaceTime. It's so stupid. But of course, he's playing his music too loud. And he doesn't hear Grace waking up. She kicks him in the face. She causes a car accident. Butler gone. R.I.P. buddy. Then after the car crash, she runs into Daniel. Daniel, help me, please. I believe in you. I know you're not bad like them. And Daniel takes her out anyways. Damn, Daniel, we believed in you. But it's also very likely he knew his dad was watching behind the tree, so he made this decision. Because he has plans, okay? So we're not giving up on Daniel just yet.
Hello.
Now we're back to sacrifice time. Once again, we're ready to sacrifice this time. Then we have Damn Daniel Part 2. Right when they're about to sacrifice, they're all drinking out of the goblets. We find out that Daniel poisoned everybody. Oh, shit. It's kind of amazing. They'll just start projectile vomiting. It's a beautiful scene. So Daniel gets Grace out of the room, about to run away, and Charity shows up. And I can't defend her in this moment. She does bad. She does real bad. She wants to shoot Grace, obviously. Daniel stands in the way. So she just fucking shoots him. Daniel's bleeding out. Daniel's on the floor. He's bleeding out and missed his face. It's fine. He's on the floor bleeding out. There's not much Grace can do. So she keeps on running. She's got to survive. Okay. Then things really start heating up because there is a fire. The house is now caught on fire. Grace is running up. She runs into her mother-in-law.
It's been a while.
And they have, I think, one of the best fight scenes in the movie. It's very primal. Like, they're just going at each other until eventually Grace is able to overpower her. Barely. It's close. And then she starts beating her with the black box, which is kind of ironic. And then, unfortunately, Alex walks in on this mother-daughter bonding, and he's not a fan of what's happening. And he had also just seen his brother dying on the floor. So Alex is not pleased to see Grace now beating his mother to death. And this is where his betrayal begins. Goes up to Grace. They kind of have a moment, but he kind of realizes in this moment that Grace is probably not going to be able to get over this as easily as he would like. And it makes him decide that she just has to go. He gets back into his mode of, let's just sacrifice her. You know what? If she's not gonna love me, she's not gonna be with me. She's gonna be in the ground. That's kind of his philosophy. So back to the sacrificing. Oh wait, I forgot to mark off my queen. So sorry. They have Grace laid out on the table, and Alex is about to deliver the final blow. When she moves, he misses, gets her in the shoulder, and then they discover that it's already morning.
Rise and
They're
shine.
fucked. And there's this beautiful, like, horror where they're all like, oh my God, did we do this for no reason? Like, that panic, they kind of do sit with that for a little bit, which I really enjoy. But then, just kidding. Helena goes to attack Grace anyways because she's dedicated to LaBelle. So she's like, I'm gonna kill her anyways. I promise. I'm sorry I let you down. So she goes to kill Grace, explodes. Then it's bye-bye Fitch, bye-bye Emily. Not even the kids are spared. Charity's gone. Tony has a little hissy fit about him being in charge. Still dies. And then we're left with Alex. And for a moment, you think, oh, maybe they'll be able to be together. Maybe, and he thinks this. He's like, I'm giving a second chance. We can still be together. And my girl Grace, she knows her worth. She's like, no. After you betrayed me, throws the ring at him. I want a divorce. And he explodes. And so we only have Grace left standing. Yeah. Queen is the only one left standing after all of this. And she is laughing. Me too. So the film ends with everyone exploding, her throwing the ring, and then she just starts laughing. Because this whole thing is so ridiculous, and I think she's just finally, like, a moment of catharsis. She's laughing, and then she finally gets her cigarette. So it ends, her covered in blood, smoking a little cigarette. It's beautiful. But uh-oh, there's more. So that's how the first movie ends. But we've gotten some sneak peeks about the next movie. Holy shit, she wakes up. It's next day, and she has triggered a new game against the High Council families. What? After all of this, you're like, yay, she gets to take a break. No, she didn't. Apparently not. Change of blood. I had to go to work, which was unfortunate because the blood did not come off of my face fully. So I went to work and it looked like there had been blood dripping off of my face. So that was really fun. I did have a super funny interaction where someone was like, oh my God, you have blood on your face? And I was like, oh, don't worry, it's not mine. And obviously they responded with, well, whose is it? Because that's still concerning. It was really funny for me. But we're back and we're now going to get into the lore. And you might think, girl, this is a 93-minute movie. How much lore can there be? Let me tell you. The devil. Now, you might think this is a stretch, but let me get into it, okay? We can start out, look at this logo. First of all, red. That's the color of hell and demons. Second of all, look at these points. Reminiscent of something. Yeah, the Monster Energy logo, which we already know. That's of the devil. That's demon shit right there, okay? Two things, they are connected. Then we also have just the title in itself. Ready or not. That's just a little phrase, right? Wrong. That is very reminiscent of the Bible passage talking about the rapture. Therefore, you also must be ready because the Son of Man will come at the hour when you do not expect him. Right. The rapture. And if we go back to the monster logo, okay, this has already been debunked by some very qualified individuals. Those little symbols, 3 of them to be exact. That's actually the Hebrew letter for 6. And how many of them are there? 3. 666. Just kidding. I've just always wanted to use the Monster Energy lady's thought process for something. I was so excited when I found a way to incorporate it into this, okay? But there are actually some real hell and demon connections that we can make in this movie. Most obvious would be LaBelle appearing as a fiery specter at the end, and then of course them straight up saying, "Hail Satan!" So those are like very obvious ones. Also some more subtle cues throughout, like some imagery. Some of the board games, there's some demonic imagery used. And then we also have the names, which is the one that's the most interesting to me. And unfortunately, I did not come up with this one. I wish I had. This has been floating around the Reddit pages for years, but LaBelle can be rearranged to be Belial, king of hell, who provides answers, grants favors, all in exchange for sacrifices and favors and gifts from those he helps, which sounds very familiar. That specific spelling of the name appears in the Hebrew Bible / the Old Testament, and it later became what we know now as the devil. And they are also known to be a fallen angel. We then have Ladomas, which is a family name, and that can be rearranged to be Asmodel. I'm not sure how to say it. I'm probably butchering it, which is another name for Asmodeus, who is known by a lot of different things, but like I've seen King of Demons, I've seen King of the Bull Host, and a lot of interpretations say that they represent strength, divine power. They fell from grace and became the representation of the sin lust. That's kind of number one, is they have this insatiable desire for power, wealth, you name it, they crave it. I think it's a really cool way of interpreting the names of these characters because it really fits with their role within the story. Because we have LaBelle, who represents devil, you sell your soul, get all of this wealth, and Ladomas are these power-hungry rich people. It totally makes sense. Other demon shit. So Grace stumbles into a stable filled with goats that we find out later are used to sacrifice additionally to like human sacrifices. You know, goats are like a good filler every now and again. We don't really get a lot of information into how that works, which I hope we get in the second movie. I really want to know more about the specifics, how you appease LaBelle. Like, I think that'll be really fun. It is also funny because Samara's scream really does sound like a goat. And she's also the goat. So those are all connections. I'm pulling the threads, okay? Alex even talks about how weird it is that killing these goats on the reg is kind of like a normal thing. You know, it's just family time. We're gonna go kill some goats. And that is weird. Alex, that is weird. Maybe you should have done something about it instead of being too scared. And then Tony also references the Van Horn family, who was a family that died after failing to offer their sacrifice. So that kind of widens the universe and shows that there are more families that have made deals with LaBelle. So yeah, there's obviously been confirmed because we have this new movie, which is like a bunch of families competing for the world. Ooh. Also, the original ending did have more rich people show up. They said there was like 20 endings, with some of them showing off the other families that made deals. And originally Grace was supposed to die. And it's kind of funny how that ended up changing, which leads me to Donald Trump. Why is Trump here? I will explain, okay? It's a jump scare, but is a shockingly good thing that he unintentionally did by being the worst. It's from Digital Spy. This is an interview that they did. The ending was much different. Initially, when we first got the script, it was a lot darker. Executive producer Chad Balilla told Bloody Disgusting, adding that it saw Alex, Grace's husband, kill her and the Ledemos family get away with it. It would have been a serious downer ending given how much you root for Grace throughout the movie. You certainly wouldn't want to rewatch it knowing that all of her effort to survive was going to be for nothing. And weirdly, you've got US President Donald Trump to thank for the ending being changed. When the script was originally written, Obama was president, and when we got involved with Searchlight, it was literally the day after Trump got elected. We called co-director Matt Bettinelli, and the desire to make something that dark went right out the window. It was like, we're living in that shit now. We don't need to experience it at the movies. Let's have a cathartic version. Do thank them for that, because I do think that this version is so perfect, because we get that catharsis because all of them die. But then there is also that moment of like, oh shit, they just try to kill her for no reason. So it's almost like them being forced to take accountability, and then they still die. So it's, you kind of get the best of both worlds. And I'm just so happy that Grace lived, because one, we're getting a sequel, hell yeah, and two, I wanted this one to be a happy ending. Trump is also connected to this movie in another way, which I know, unfortunate, but there was some tea from another movie that has a similar premise that was coming out around the same time called The Hunt. Basically, production on that movie was delayed because of its anti-capitalist propaganda. You know, that would hurt poor baby Trump's feelings so much. You know, the 1% have it so rough. Why would we make fun of them like that? There's more to it, but that's the gist. But luckily, Ready or Not flew right under the radar. I think it's probably because it's like more comedy centric. The Hunt's a little bit more serious. And thank goodness Ready or Not made it through, because girl, I really needed this movie during the pandemic. Okay, I watched this movie so many times because it was just like, it was a fun time. And it was nice to watch rich people explode. During that time specifically, I needed that. Smoking. I have a theory that this was just a massive smoking ad. Because why do you have so many fabulous women smoking in such fabulous ways? Like, how am I supposed to want to not smoke when they look so cool? And really, you could break this movie down to just one girl's journey to find a damn cigarette. It's very Where's My Jewel coded. She searches far, she searches wide. And she finally does it. Like, they really made it so freaking fabulous. When Mother pulls out her cunty little cigarette case from her leg strap, I'm supposed to think, smoking's bad. Smoking's bad. Excuse me. No, but for real, there is a lot of symbolism that can be drawn from the smoking, and I just think it's funny how many instances of it there are, and how it begins and ends with her smoking a cigarette. I also read this article from 2023 that was talking about smoking being back in movies. I just think that's such a funny premise. But it's true, it was like a very taboo thing for a while. You usually really didn't see smoking as much in movies, especially like when you watch movies from the 80s and 90s. There's like smoking everywhere. And in early 2000s, it kind of disappears. I really do think a lot of it is nostalgia. Like, it really gives that nostalgic feeling. But the article's really good. I will link it down below because it's very interesting. It also talks a little bit about like the subtext of smoking, like what it can mean in addition to just being someone smoking. It always has a little bit deeper meaning. But maybe all it was trying to say was smoking was the real prize the whole time. Final thoughts. This movie is so flipping fabulous. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. I know I kind of gave you a full rundown in this, but it's still a fun watch. There's a lot of jokes I didn't include specifically so you could still be surprised if they happen. And I am so excited about the sequel. I was really nervous about it because I wasn't sure if it was just going to be a cash grab, but they took so long to make it. I really feel like they took their time thinking about it. And the cast is so freaking good. The Sarah Michelle Gellar, Elijah Wood, Samara, and Catherine Newton together, like, it's gonna be so good. Even if the script is bad, I'm gonna have a fun time watching them. I do hope this video helped prepare you for part 2's release, because ready or not, it's coming out either today or tomorrow, depending on how fast I edit this. We'll see. But thank you so much for watching. Wish me luck getting this blood off. I can't go to work with blood all over me again.